have so many connectors with which you can connect to so many applications within your enterprise. So we have Power BI, Power Apps, and Flow, and to connect your applications and then get your data and do any processing or report as such using that data. And you can also feed in data to those databases that you would have from Power Apps, right? So that with that being said, we have so many data connectors and common data service as the tightly coupled database that comes along with Power Apps. So let's deep dive further. We do have AI Builder as such, right? So this all comes as a package. So now let's see, um, if you are coming with a Microsoft 365 background in your enterprise, then yes, you would be able to connect to your SharePoint, Teams, Exchange from within Power Apps or Power BI or Power Automate. So any data from here can trigger, any event from within these applications can trigger your data flow, and you can create an app for this event as well, which can be triggered, right? And if you are from Dynamics 365 background, yes, it works very well from within sales, service, and talent. And yes, last but not the least, Azure SQL, Azure Functions. Do you have any of them? Yes, it works very well with that as well, right? So with this, with so many interconnections and with so many openings, opportunities for us to connect to so many different applications, right? We do have certain challenges. Yes, these are the questions typical asks in any enterprise or organization that we might have. Business data security. I am capturing some business data in my apps. How are you making sure that it's not being shared with any outside world? You don't just push it to LinkedIn, or you don't push it to any other social media wherein it could be exposed to the outside world, right? That's one. Like environment health. Are you really following the environment the policies and stuff whenever you are spinning up a new environment? How is it? Are you following the proper licensing pattern and such, right? That we need to have under control. And maintenance challenges. As you create so many apps and flows, we need to know what's being used and what's not being used. If it's not being used, we had to take care of those stuffs so that we don't unnecessarily pay a lot of cost, right? We have to have it under control. And yes, security risks, as I already said, is it within your demilitarized zone or your militarized zone? Where do you exactly keep your app? With your gateway coming into picture, you would be able to connect to your cloud and your on-prem app as well. With all being said, we need to have security risks being monitored and being taken care. Compliance issues regarding GDPR, like any of your PDPA data or anything related to GDPR, we need to be very careful whether we are following the norms and the practices, right? And ALM support, anything that's being created and deployed, are you creating it in a manner that you could maintain it well? So how good are we able to support from within ALM? And the staff turnover challenges regarding app or flow ownership, like you might have your staffs in and out, right? So if someone is going out, you need to make sure those apps and flows, whatever they created and they maintained, are being taken care of. With low code and no code platform coming into picture, you would have anyone and everyone in your organization creating apps. So yes, this would become a challenge as your organization grows, or if your organization is already too big. Information risk management, this is more around how you handle your information, right? Now, with all these asks in place, we need to consider a center of excellence in place and a toolkit for the same. So when we say center of excellence, right, when do you need a center of excellence? It's not something that you need the first time you create an app. As you start adopting and as you create apps, you need to have a governance team in place who will take care of the administration and govern all your apps and environments that are there in your entire enterprise, right? So what's a COE? A COE is not the toolkit that Microsoft provides. A COE in an organization will drive innovation and improve your processes, and it brings together all the like-minded people with the similar business goals, right? At the same time, it has to provide standards, consistency, and it has to provide governance to the organization as well. Managing a COE requires people, communication, defined requirements, processes, and tools. So the last tools that I've added, right? Only in that place the toolkit comes into picture. But otherwise, you need to actually organize your people. You need to have some communication patterns in place and requirements. Whenever you are thinking of automating any business requirement, you need to have some business approval process in place. And yeah, as I articulated it, I just talked about the process that needs to be in place as well. A Microsoft Power Platform COE takes ownership of the entire environment administration, nurturing, and operation support. So as you develop your app, it need to actually help you encourage adoption within your enterprise, and also it needs to provide operation support. Like the environment might need to undergo further updates, and as we do the update, how far the app is well maintained and stuff, the team will take care of that. To do that, you will need to use the administrative functions which comes within Power Platform. Admin and governance tools fall into three broad categories, which we will just quickly have a view at it after deep diving into further more administrative steps that we need to consider. Please stop me if at all you have any questions, or otherwise you can drop in your questions to the chat window, which I can take it up later. The COE administration, if you see, these are the primary major steps that you would just follow to govern and grow. Under governance, you need to secure, monitor, you need to have some alerts and actions in place, and deploy, nurture infrastructure and support, which is something is a part of a continuum process that will be taking care of your growth strategy within your enterprise. All right, and these are the top 10 governance tips. Under secure, what are the tips that you need to consider? Product discovery. You need to understand the origin of apps and flows, know your environments, learn the 5 layers of security, and plus the one that masters most, which means what are the security layers that you need to apply, and what data loss prevention policy that you need to have in place. As part of monitoring, you need to configure audit logs, review out-of-the-box analytics, whatever that comes as soon as you create an environment in Power Platform, be it Power Automate or be it Power Apps. You would have the admin center, right? From within that admin center, you would be able to see the analytics which comes out of the box. You need to review that in a continuous manner, and then you need to leverage management connectors, which means for each of this component in your platform, there are some admin connectors that has been the APIs that's been exposed from Microsoft for you to consume and extend. Alert and action, you can leverage management connectors and PowerShell to automate your policies. As I already said, the management connectors that are being exposed by Microsoft, you can leverage those connectors and some PowerShell scripts that are being provided to automate your policies. Like, if at all you see an app which is not being used for long, maybe you could just create a flow which can send an email to the app owner and then ask him whether you are using it or no. That's an indication to the owner, as well as you can send in an email to the COE group, like a distributed group email that you could have. And then you can have, as part of alert and action, you can welcome new makers so that you could just encourage them to adopt and innovate and stuff, right? And you can identify champions, which means out of the analytics that comes out of COE toolkit, certain dashboards will help you understand who are the top makers, which means they keep innovating and they keep creating the apps. Those analytics will be provided to you, from which you can just identify the champion. And yes, you can install the Center of Excellence toolkit, which will give you a lot more tools, not only to do the stuffs that whatever I explained. Let's deep dive into the toolkits after we understand about the administration and governance that we need to have in place. Yeah, so what's an environment? We keep talking about environment. Not all business users might know about environment. Just give me a moment. Was there a question to me? No. Okay. All right. I was just trying to check that. So yeah, we have a lot of environments. So what are environments? Environments are containers that admins can use to manage apps. So you would have a lot of apps, a lot of flows. So you are just grouping it and just placing them within a container, and that container we call it to be an environment. By default, whenever you just get a subscription, then you get the default environment, and usually you will not be touching it because that's a default play kind of an area wherein you just create, innovate within that area, but that's not a production or sandbox environment. So you should be having sandbox and production environments wherein you could just do the testing and then promoting it into the production environments. All right, so those we call it to be the environments, and within every Azure AD tenant, you would, for an enterprise, usually you should be having one tenant wherein you would have multiple environments, but in certain places, different departments, if they are getting it at different timings, the tenant would vary. But usually if the tenants are different, it's hard to manage because you would not be able to easily migrate stuff, and you should go via Microsoft to go get it done. So yes, as part of governance, we need to make sure what are the environments are in place, how can you monitor it, and how can you create a universal view of all of this. Environment key facts, what you need to consider. Environments are tied to geographic locations. So if your enterprise is across multiple countries, then yes, each of the environment would be against different time zones and geographic location. And you could be using this to target audience as per the target audience, or for any other different purpose, like for dev, test, production. Depending on the usage of it, you could also create environments. DLP policies can be applied to individual environments or to the entire tenant as well. So as we start seeing the COE toolkit, we would have installed all the tools and components from inside one individual environment, so that we would be able to apply some DLP policies for that environment alone. All right. So every tenant, whenever you get it, it will come with a default environment, and you should be using this to play around and don't make them as the production environment as such. Okay, so non-default environments give more control. That's the reason we just keep them as play environments. All right. The 5 layers of security that we saw in the tips. What are the 5 levels of security? First comes the Azure AD, which means if you're using your Azure AD, then ideally your Azure AD will give you the 2-factor authentication and the login within which you would be able to control at the first level. The second level is the environment roles, whether the person is a maker or an admin, that kind of role that you would be able to assign to every user, so that you could control what activities that they perform. Resource permissions for apps, flows, and custom connectors. Like at the resource level, you could apply permissions. And then comes CDS, which is your database. You would be able to tell what security role that they belong to. Whether they are an admin or they are just view, they have only view rights and all this. Cross-tenant inbound and outbound restrictions, which means at the connectors level, you would be able to maintain security. All right. The next thing comes into picture is prevent data leakage. How can we do that? You are having so many connectors. You would be able to connect to your Twitter. You would be able to connect to your Facebook. How can you have that under control when you're enabling all your business users who are who are just introduced to low code no code platform and who do not have that IT background, right? When that comes into picture, you need to have some policies that's been enforced, and that's where you would be able to avoid the data leakage. So these data loss prevention policies enforce rules for which connectors can be used together. Connectors are classified like business data and non-business data. If you're creating your own custom connector, yes, you have the option of categorizing it as business data or non-business data, and accordingly the policy would be applied. All right, so you would be able to do that policy appliance to that custom connector after you create the custom connector. All right. Tenant admins will be able to define the policies. Who will be able to define the policies? Ideally, it will be the tenant admins. Okay. So when you're applying these policies to the environments, you can apply it to all environments or to only selected environment, or you can apply to all except certain environments. All right. So when you're applying it to all except certain environments, you need to just list down the environment names, comma separated. All right. Then we have audit logs. What do you mean by audit logs? Like we have heard about audit logs. We have audit in many places, right? If you consider CDS, yes, we have audits at that place. If you take Office 365, we have audits at that place. So we need to make sure that these audit logs are being synced into our COE database tables, so that we would be able to look into these audit data that's been captured from Office 365 as well as from CDS database. All right. So these two activity logging will be pushed in from all the environments to your COE environment, and via the flow and the webhook events that we have in place. So as a base, the toolkit offers you these flows and the database entities in the database, which is a starting point. But every enterprise will have its own policies that needs to be enforced, right? So this can be extended as you extend any Power App or flow. You could extend these components by adding it to your own solution, and then you can further extend those components. Office 365 activity logging. As such, this activity logging, how do you do it? Like by default, Office 365 captures all the activity that's happening, and this would be this can be actually pushed into your COE environment via the flow. And by what means? We do have an API connected to Office 365, and to connecting to that API, you would be able to push in all your data into your COE database table. And what license you need to have for you to do this activity is like you must have a E3 license by default or a greater license, and it must be enabled at the organization level, and you could not do it at the individual component level. All right. So what activity logs? When we say activity logs, what can be monitored? When it comes to Microsoft Flow, you can just monitor whether a flow was created, edited, deleted, or any permissions were edited or deleted, or you have just started a paid trial, or you renewed a paid trial. What all activities did the user do? That kind of meaning whatever is listed under Microsoft Flow, that can be monitored. And when it comes to Power Apps, you've just created the app, edited or saved the app, published the app, deleted, launched, marking app is featured, marking app is zero. So all these activities, whatever is listed under Power Apps, you would be able to monitor those activities as well from the logs. Analytics. Now we have pushed in all your audits into COE environment table, right? COE environment has some entities to which we have just pushed in all the data. So when it comes to we have done all the data collection now. Now, after we collect the data, usually what we do, we just create some analytics out of it, and for which we use Power BI. So Power BI works well. You can connect to the COE environment, and then you could utilize all the entities which are in place, and you can create an analytics from within that. Apart from this custom analytics that you create from your COE environment, you could also go to the admin centers from within Power Platform, and then look at the analytics that comes out of the box from the Power Platform admin center. That can help you to great extent around storage capacity and the common data service, Microsoft Flow, and Power Apps. It just tries to cover all of these basic details. Basically, this data, audit data, will be stored for 28 days, and the data is being refreshed daily. And for you to enable this audit log and the syncing, you need to have the Plan 2 license, and you need to have the global admin rights for you to just collect this data and push it into your COE environment. All right, so you have some maker analytics as well, apart from the admin analytics that we just that I just walked through. So maker analytics as such, if you see, you would be able to see from as if you're a maker, you could just see it from your app and flow level. And yeah, where can you find? You would already be knowing about it. And the data is stored for 30 days in this maker analytics case. And over here as well, the data is refreshed on a daily basis, and you would need a Plan 2 license plus owner or edit access to the app or flow for which you're trying to get to know about the analytics. All right. Now we have created, we have collected the data, we have secured. First, we just discovered all the environments, and we were just talking about the policies that we need to make sure are in place for each of the environment. And then we saw about how we can actually enforce the policies, and how we can collect the data from different audits. Right now, we should be thinking about automating these reports. That is the best way we can have our administration being effective. So we do have PowerShell commands which are being offered as a starting point, and we do have the management connectors for the Power Apps, Power Platform, Power Apps, and then the flow management. So you could utilize all these connectors, admin connectors, and then you would be able to management connectors, and then you would extend in your flow to automate these reports. All right. So I've given the link where you can find the command PowerShell commands and the management connectors. You would be able to go to your environment and search these management connectors as well. Yes, we just saw the data collection, and then we thought about automating these reports. Now it's time to take action, right? What can we take action? Like as I already said, you are when you're doing it with PowerShell, you would be able to get the numbers of number of environments, apps, and flows in your enterprise, and then you can bulk create multiple environments with CDS, or you could clean up if something is not being used, change owner of app, like if a person leaves and whatever that person was taking care of, you should be able to change the owner of those components to a new person. And licenses, we need to be monitoring what licenses we do have and how many of them are, when it comes to connectors, what connectors are being used, and whether are we using data gateways or no. With that all being said, it will help you to nurture, which means you see some connectors being used very often. Then maybe you can arrange a training session for your business users to ensure they understand the connector well and they utilize it appropriately. So likewise, what all you could do with management connectors is that you would be able to build your own admin Power App, automate environment creation with approvals. You can generate some alerts when new resources are created, or as I already indicated, when some app is not being used, then you could initiate some alert to the app maker, and owner, and then you can take in the process. You can just automate your process as required by your organization. There are some governance processes which are already being provided from Microsoft around environment creation and app or flow creation, and when it comes to connector usage, and if at all you've added new connectors, what governance policies and processes needs to be in place. Yes, there is a defined set from Microsoft already in place. You can consider that as a starting point, and if that doesn't suffice your need, then you can further extend it. Yes, we saw all the admin and governance that needs to be in place, right? As a center of excellence, what all we need to consider and what all we need to monitor. Now it comes to admin and governance tools. What are the admin and governance tools that are available to us? Which means it could be from out of the box or it could be from the toolkit. So when it comes to Admin Center, we do have 3 places wherein we can find these tools. One is the Admin Center, the other one is a platform extension, and the third part is the templates and customization. Admin Center comes out of the box, wherein you would be able to go to your Power Platform Admin Center. You would be able to check all your environments, all your data loss prevention policies that are being established, and then your integration and gateway management, what all you have it in place, and the analytics that comes, the tab that you would have in the admin center, that, and then you would have options to manage support tickets with Microsoft, right? And platform extensions, as such, as I already indicated, there are connections that are being exposed from Microsoft, and the 4 APIs that's been exposed, that's been listed here. And if you go to docs.microsoft.com, you would be able to get the access to these APIs, and you would be readily be able to utilize these in your flows and in any of your other analytics as well. All right. Templates and customization is the place wherein you have the COE starter kit that's being provided from Microsoft. So we will just have a deep dive look into what this starter kit has. Okay, but COE starter kit has some customizations in place and templates in place which are being defined as a starting point from Microsoft. I insist the starting point multiple times because of the reason that it's not the end. It's not the end product that Microsoft says, okay, you want to set up a COE, go and use this starter kit. No, that's not the case. So this is a starting point. You can install these customizations into your environment, and you could just monitor what policies and processes that you need to have in your enterprise. If that doesn't suffice, you can go ahead and extend those components that you already have in place. All right. Yes. Now we need to deep dive and understand what is there in COE toolkit, so that we look into it first to understand whether that suffices our need or we need to think further of what else is required. So what is a Power Platform COE toolkit? It's a collection of components and tools, as I said already, right? So when we say components, what all components we know in Power Platform? It could be a CDS, database, entities, flows, apps, and whatnot, a dashboard or a Power BI report, right? These all forms your COE toolkit. So you do have a zip file. The toolkit comes as a zip file, which has all these components and tools which are pre-built for you based on the common asks that we just saw a little bit earlier. So you could just install these components into your environment so that you would be able to start your COE governance with these. Okay. The starter kit modules, as such, we have 4 modules: core components, and then governance components, nurturing components, and the theming components. Let's look into what core components are. Okay. After this, I will just show you some components that I've already installed in my environment and I have it in place. The core components, as such, it will it will, you had to do your data collection, your securing and monitoring, right? Which we saw as a process, what an admin should do in terms of COE, right? When we saw that process, we were just seeing securing, monitoring, and then alert and action, and deploy, right? So primarily, if you see these toolkits, whatever the components that are being provided from core, will help you to do that secure and monitor activities from within your COE. So you have your catalog tenant resources, which means this plays a major role to collect all your data. So to collect your data, you need some place wherein you can store this collected data, for which you do have your entities in place, which will collect the list of environments that you have, apps you have, flows you have. And then you need to have flows in place, which will connect to all the environments in your tenant, and then it will try to grab all the information within your tenant and then push it into your CDS entities that is there in place. That's being provided. And then you have some audit log flow, sync audit log flow, which primarily will connect to your Office 365 audit log and then pushing that data to your CDS entity. And you have your Power BI dashboard, wherein you have your analytics from the data, whatever we have collected using these flows into the CDS entities. Custom connector that's been created for Office 365 audit logs, that would be there as part of this toolkit. And then the Power Platform Admin View, which is a model-driven app wherein the Power BI dashboard that got created will be hosted into this model-driven app for you to just navigate and see. So as an admin, if you log into your Power Platform Admin View app, you would be able to see the dashboard, which will give you a summary of all of this data collected across all these channels. The second thing around DLP strategy and visibility, what tools that you have, you have your DLP editor and DLP customizer. DLP editor, what it does is basically you have any policy that's been enforced. It's like, yes, you could do it in multiple ways. You can create your data loss prevention policy logging into your admin center as well. And this app gives you convenience wherein you would be able to see all your data loss prevention policies that you have enforced across environments, across tenants. So not across tenants, across environments. So you would be able to select the environment, and then you would be able to see the list of DLP policies in place, wherein you can edit and modify your policy. DLP customizer, as such, if you see, what it offers is a Canvas app that allows you to add custom connectors to your business data group. So you have created a custom connector. Now you had to categorize it and then apply the policy to it, right? So your DLP customizer will help you do that. And the last one is change app ownership. And as we already saw as part of the governance tips, when somebody leaves the organization, you need to make sure that the apps, whatever they owned, are being taken care. And this app will help you move your app ownership from one user to the other user. Okay. Let me just demonstrate. Let me demonstrate from within an environment that I've created. Dharani, can you confirm you're able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so as soon as you install your COE Starter Kit toolkit, right, all these flows and your apps will be installed into your environment. What we have done is, if you see the environment, we have just created a COE environment specifically for handling these COE, and it's ideal to do this because you would be able to apply DLP policy separately for this Malaysian COE environment. Okay. so that they don't use these CDS entities and you do not give access to anyone else apart from the admins. You can restrict it much more if you have a separate environment, and it's ideal to do so. You just create this environment, and then after you import all those customizations that comes with the toolkit, you would be able to see all the apps and your flows. So as soon as you open this admin view, see, this is a Power BI dashboard that they have already created, and we do have connectors with which the data flows in. I do not have multiple apps for me to show you, but this is the bare minimum data that I was able to set up. You are able to see the active makers, as I was saying, right? You would be able to identify the champion from within your dashboard. So you would be able to see that, yeah, this person from has been actively creating apps. So you could just manually, you can have the process to go in, audit all the apps that the person has created, and then if you identify and dignify the apps that have been created, yes, you can announce that person as a champion. So these tools are aids for you to do your governance and administration, as I already said. All the active environments, how many environments you do have, and active makers, who are all the active makers, and what apps do you have, and what flows that you have in one single view dashboard. You would be able to see all of these dashboards. Okay, so this particular app will host this dashboard for you to go and have a look at it. Okay, let me just switch back to my presentation. So you don't need to create your database or the entities, for that matter, any of the flows as well. This, as soon as you install the starter kit, all the database entities, and then your hope you're able to see the presentation again.
Yes.
Yeah. So all these entities, flows, and your Power BI dashboards will be automatically being created. COE governance components, as such, if you see, you are able to, these components will help you do the governance part of it, which means, as I say governance, it talks about more about auditing and compliance processes that you need to enforce across your enterprise, right? So basically you can make sure what information that you need to gather about every app, and what processes that any person, when they need to automate a business process, needs to undergo. You can mention that, and you can ensure that those approvals are being sought and those are being in place. So for you to incorporate those governance in place, you can just utilize these tools to this will be a starting point. As I said, the examples what I said also is not being covered fully with the tools that's being offered, but yeah, you can extend and enforce all those. If at all you need a business process that needs to be automated, right? If you wanted an approval in place, yes, you can create your own app, and then you can have your flows to do that routing of approval, and once you can just check the status of the approval, and then you can make a decision, or you can allow or you can just make that person as a maker beyond that. Or any apps that the person creates, you can just keep auditing those, whether he has started to create the app or he is awaiting the approval process. Okay. So basically, license requirement as such, the makers participating in the audit and compliance workflows will require a per user license or a per app license. Per app license it means that to only one app that they can access. If you're allowing the makers to create multiple apps, that may not work. You need to go in for per user license, and I think approximately it's $40 per user if you go in for a per user license. And if it's a per app license, it will be a little lesser, I think around $7 to $10. I don't have it on top of my mind now. Okay, so the governance components as such, what comes with the toolkit, you have the developer compliance center, which is a Canvas app, and then you have a flow, which gives you the compliance detail request, which means it has some flow, has to capture all the apps that are in place, and it needs to capture some details from those apps, right? And this flow will help in collecting that data. Business processes flow for auditing resources. So there is a business process flow around the basic approval process that I was talking about, and you have archive unused apps. So for this scenario, you are provided with two things. One is the flow, which tries to check your app usage, and then it will try to send for approval whether you want to archive this app. Once it's been approved, there is a flow which will actually back up this app and then put it into your SharePoint library. So the SharePoint library creation, the flow, that's all been done with the customization zip file that's been provided, and the PowerShell commands that ships along with the COE toolkit. You have meaning like once that's been you have identified certain auditing responses, right? Then accordingly you need to take some action. So you have two flows which will help you do that. Like if at all some flows are not being used, you can find them and then disable those flows. And if at all some connectors, find and add admins as owners for apps that leverage certain connectors, which means if at all you think whatever apps are being connected to Twitter, that needs to be owned by a particular person, and it cannot be owned by the discrete users. Yes, you can utilize this flow and just modify those variables for it to be assigned to the appropriate person. So these are certain auditing and compliance processes are in place. You could extend further beyond. You can either add these components to your solution and further develop on it, or you could create your own stuffs as well based on these entities. Okay, COE nurture components. Basically, this is, you have a lot of users in place in your COE. They have started creating things. Now you need to actually have something to support and nurture that particular community that you have within your enterprise, right? And these components will help you to do so. Like your welcome email flow, which means any particular person is just starting to be a maker, then it will just send a welcome email to that particular person. And then the template catalogs, like which means you have some Canvas app catalogs which they can just refer and create their very first apps. And admin newsletter, which means with product updates, what's latest and what's new feature, that flow is being provided from the toolkit. Training and a day management, which means if at all you want to give any particular training, like from the dashboard you just figured out certain connectors are being used very recurrently, then you can just arrange for a training. And if at all you plan for a training, you can just use this app to monitor the registration, and you are given one another app for you to do the feedback, for you to record the feedback and send some reminders. All right, the last one is the app catalog, which will help you to encourage the users to do those to create apps and to adopt the created apps. All right, COE DLP strategy. As I'm just running out of time and I'm having very less time, I'm just making it a little fast. DLP strategy as such, if you see, it's the policy editor that you have. I can just show you all of this policy editor, and then the monitoring, you have the Power BI dashboard that gives you insights. And these are the places. As part of secure, you have DLP editor. As part of monitor, you have the flow templates for you to collect the details into CDS, and then you have the Power BI dashboards. And what exact toolkit components does that is being provided here. And you have alert and action. You have the flows for you to do the compliance detail request, for you to collect details about the app, and then you have the Canvas app, wherein you have the developer compliance center, which will show all the apps and what's the status of their of that. And model driven app, business process flow for auditing resources. And finally you have for nurture the welcome email and the app catalog. Let me quickly share my screen and show you those apps randomly. Okay. 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 So training in a day registration, training in a day management, these are the ones that gets automatically being installed as part of your COE toolkit installation. Let me just show you. I will just show you this for a moment. Set apps permission. So you would be able to see all your environments within here, and as soon as you select your environment here, it will give the details of all your apps and flows here. You would be able to select your app, and then if you want to add permissions, you can click on here, and you would be able to add a user and then make them as a viewer, editor, or a owner. So this is the app permission app that you have, and you have this. So basically, I haven't done much. I've just ensured that the connectors are being established, and I've just installed the COE toolkit, and then the connectors are being established, and I'm readily able to utilize all of the apps and flows that are in. Okay, so if you see here Canvas app, right? These are the list of Canvas app that I have. If you see these ones, they are in red, which means it do not comply to any of my compliance things that I have in place. Let me just open up this app compliance thing. If you see here, 2 are good. As of today, I've just indicated that app compliance. This comes out of the box from the COE toolkit. As soon as you install, it will just monitor every app against these 3 things, whether it is published within 60 days. You just create an app and you don't publish it, then it means it's not going to be used, right? Then it's a waste of having that app, and it increases our app list. So basically, we are just checking whether it's been published within 60 days and whether you've filled out the app description, which means you're just not creating so many apps without any description and you're just playing around with the environment. We should not be encouraging that, right? There needs to be some discipline in place for the users. So we can just make sure that as part of processes they follow to fill in the app description, and maybe whether they have supported the meaning filled in the support details, which means make a requirement. What is the business justification for which they are trying to create the app, and then the access management, dependencies, business impact, whether this app will have low risk, important, or critical. So this will help you to maintain this app. And when, as part of maintenance, if something goes wrong with the app, you would be able to take appropriate decisions. So yes, the category also, you can just make sure whether it's part of human resources or finance or customer service. This will also indirectly help you drive, understand the business impact. Okay, and the data classifications, whether you have highly confidential data that's been captured as part of the app, or what kind of data that's been handled. So as soon as you submit your support details, then it would turn to green. So if you go back to your dashboard, you would be able to see the COE demo that we just created, wherein we have given the support details. All of the information is being filled and submitted, and there is a description for the app. You would be able to see the description that's been provided, and if all 3 are in place, yes, I created yesterday and just being published yesterday itself, so everything shows in green, and the app also comes in green. Okay. These are the quick tools that I'm able to show, but you have many more. I think you could try to install your COE toolkit, and you can just have a look at what the other apps in the Power BI dashboard that you have in place. The last 4 minutes, I'm just opening the forum for questions. Any questions, anyone?
As of now, I'm not seeing any questions in the chat.
All right, which means silence is acceptance.
Guys, if you
Guys,
have
if you
any
have any
questions,
questions,
please
please
feel free
feel
to
free
put it
to
in the
put it
chat
in chat
window.
window.
Yeah, I think should be good. Thank you so much again, Dharani, for inviting me, and thanks for this opportunity. Thanks everyone for joining in. It's a great evening, and I would just wait to hear from the next person. Yeah.
Uh,